Hey, Girls Gone Hallmark listeners, wanted to take a quick minute to introduce you to our newest podcast, Last to the Party. Last to the Party is a Bravo rewatch podcast. So if we have any Bravo listeners in our Hallmark community, this might be the podcast for you. We are going back to the beginning, starting with Summer House Season 1 and recapping episode by episode. Fair warning, the content is ever so slightly less family friendly than our Hallmark content, but it's still the Megan and Wendy podcasting you know and love. This is the very first Last to the Party episode that you're going to hear, but there are several episodes available over in the Last to the Party feed for you to check out. Enjoy the episode.
Hear me out. I think he's like equal part charming and also walking red flag.
Welcome to Last to the Party, a Bravo rewatch podcast. I'm Megan, fashionably late to all things Bravo, but making up for lost time.
I'm Wendy. I'm an OG Bravo superfan who's seen it all, probably twice.
Each week on Last to the Party, we're rewinding the clock and watching Bravo shows from the very beginning, starting with Season 1 of Summer House.
That's right. We're going back to the beginning, the chaotic hookups, Carl's full F-boy era, the evolution from Twisted Tea to Loverboy. It's a full rewatch episode by episode.
And if you've never seen these shows, that's fine, because I hadn't either. Think of this like watching with your Bravo-obsessed friend and your Bravo-curious friend at the same time.
New episodes drop every Friday, so grab your rosé and let's dive into this week's drama.
Now, you'd think this is Season 1, Episode 1 of Summer House. You'd think we wouldn't need to start this episode with a previously on segment, but you'd be wrong. Because this episode begins as the second half of a crossover episode of Vanderpump Rules, which is a little jarring to the viewer, and by viewer, I mean me. Because in my notes, it literally says Episode 1, hot effing mess. And then I had to text you, like, what is going on?
Yeah, you had to come to the encyclopedia of Bravo to kind of be like, no. This was an extension episode, basically, of Vanderpump Rules.
And now it makes sense.
Okay.
So anyway, let's hear a synopsis of this episode.
So Season 1, Episode 1, the title is Summer House, originally aired on January 9th, 2017. The synopsis is, summer is here, which for this group of friends means it's time to escape the rat race of NYC and jet out to the Hamptons. Woof, I don't know who wrote this. They've rented a weekend house in Montauk, and this year they've put together the perfect group. That is, if they don't let the drama of living together get the best of them. Twins Ashley and Lauren invite their LA friend Stassi out to see the new digs, but she's got her sights on their roommate Kyle. Meanwhile, longtime friends Everett and Lindsay shock everyone by shacking up, and new guy Carl plays the field and maybe Lauren's heartstrings. I did not write this.
Who has their eyes on Kyle, according to the synopsis?
Stassi.
I mean,
does.
Okay.
It doesn't. I mean, none of this is completely accurate.
No.
I think I might have pulled it from the either IMDb or the Wikipedia Summer House page. Hey, Megan, what was your first impression of Summer House Season 1, Episode 1?
Well, I feel like we start in a weird place. My notes, as mentioned, say Episode 1, hot fucking mess, because the opening is so jarring. And we open in the middle of a crossover episode. And if you didn't know, you don't know. There's no previously on, because I understand why that doesn't exist.
On Peacock?
On Peacock, yeah. I wonder if upon original airing of Summer House, they did a previously on and showed that Vanderpump Rules. But my advice to anybody watching this would be pull that Vanderpump Rules episode. We'll leave the episode number in the show notes and watch that first. Otherwise, know that the first 10 minutes, you're going to be like, what is happening? And then 10 minutes in, we jump into what is actually the pilot episode of the season.
Exactly. Now, if I recall correctly, because I am a huge Vanderpump fan and talk about watching things twice, I've probably watched that 20 times. I remember the Workus twins coming to LA. They had lunch with Stassi. And then that's when they pitched like, hey, you should come out to the Hamptons for the summer or whatever, right? Or come for a visit or a weekend or whatever. And then the next thing we have is Stassi is there with Kristen Doty and Sheena and Katie Maloney. And there's a little bit of, in this Vanderpump episode, they're not all getting along, shocker, and then they go to that
summer house.
So I think that's how that worked, if my memory serves me.
Yeah, they're trying to get the crossover viewers.
Same thing they did with Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Vanderpump Rules. Like that led in, like, I don't even think there was a commercial break. It led from one show into the other.
Interesting.
Now,
Beverly Hills Housewives, I know that's not what it's called. Real House of Beverly Hills came before Vanderpump Rules.
yeah.
So that Beverly Hills franchise has been around for a long time then.
I mean, I think my daughter was a baby and she's
17, y'all. Okay, so these are very cannibalistic shows. Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk who we're watching this week.
Okay. I have lots to talk about.
Okay. For me, right up top, Kyle is obviously the main character. He's got a lot going on. Now, you should know, listeners, that I have seen seasons 8 and 9 of Summer House.
You guys, I can't believe she watches this stuff out of order with no context.
Because what happened is recently my husband and I started watching season 9. And then because we were watching season 9, we finished that. We're like, well, we got to go back and watch season 8. I mean, I have context. I've seen bits and pieces, but I think it's so funny knowing present day Kyle and season 1 Kyle over and over again. There are so many moments where I was like, man, I bet Kyle wishes he could erase this because he says so many things that don't age well in terms of who he is now.
Well, what about, I mean, if you're so floored by his evolution, what about Carl's evolution?
I've got Carl is my second thought, but my thoughts on Kyle. Look, he's hooking up with his ex-girlfriend. He's got hot takes on how things should go in the house. I find it hilarious that he hates the inter-house relationship and hookups, given that his relationship will become a main source of drama over many, many seasons to come. It's clear he does the voiceover. He talks about being the one to arrange the summer house. Kyle is the nucleus around which Summer House season 1 revolves.
I call him my one-man show of frat boy chaos. I love Kyle. I am not going to even apologize for it. Like, dude understands the assignment here.
Yes.
He knows how to make good reality TV. And just like where we had Stassi kind of like bridge the gap between Vanderpump and Summer House, like Stassi understood the assignment in the first episode. Like she needed to like rile things up and like create tension between she and Kyle and whatever, and then goes away, right? And then Kyle just takes the torch and goes with it.
Yeah.
So
obviously, to your point, the second person I'm watching is Carl, and I wrote Carl is King Fuckboy. I found the scene at the end of the episode where he joins the ladies at the brunch spot and steals their French toast. So cringy.
really?
Yes.
Really?
Here's the thing. You should know that I'm 45 years old. I was never fun. I was never cool. I have been a 45-year-old woman since I was 21 years old. And so the Sunday brunch spot hookup after the weekend, dude joins your table, was never my vibe. So I think it would have made me so uncomfortable if I was there.
I personally think Carl makes a strong first impression in this episode. Hear me out. I think he's like equal part charming and also walking red flag. So I hear you. Like, it's hard as someone like me who has watched his story unfold over 9 years or 10 years, whatever it is. I have a little bit of a soft heart for him in these early seasons
because you know what's coming for him.
He's just a hot mess.
And he's kind of a baby.
He's a hot mess.
Yeah.
I think he just slides in with like enough confidence that like sparks interest.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
I love Carl. I think he's magnetic.
Do you have a favorite quote or scene from this episode?
I have a couple.
Yeah.
First of all, Ashley talking about Lindsay, quote, she goes in hard. And this is perfectly delivered warning shot that doubles as foreshadowing for Lindsay's entire relationship, the entire series.
Yes.
Like, I know from our off mic discussions, you don't really like Lindsay.
I don't think that's accurate. I don't dislike Lindsay, but what I have seen now, I've seen several episodes of this season, and I had like a little bit of a moment where I started to understand Lindsay further in. But what I have seen from Lindsay is every relationship she's in,
she wants to be all in.
She wants to be all in, but there's always drama. I've seen a few, as mentioned, I've seen season 8, I've seen season 9. I've actually seen season 2, and season 2 is kind of like the after effects. Like I saw that several years ago of this relationship with Everett. It just seems like relationship drama follows her everywhere. She just seems to thrive in a high relationship drama environment. I do find her super compelling.
Super compelling.
Like I enjoy watching her, but I would be surprised. It would be a welcome surprise to see her in a relationship that's fairly drama neutral.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I just want to preface, I love Lindsay. I think Lindsay Hubbard is TV gold. But also watching this back and over so many seasons, like this is a true masterclass in a psychoanalysis of like why this person acted this way 10 years ago and to see how they are now. Like it all makes sense. So I'm hoping like when you see the entire like canon of episodes, you'll understand like maybe the motivations behind why these people do things.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I also think your point about Kyle being reality TV gold, I think she also understands the assignment.
Oh, 100%.
We're 9 seasons in and she is still a main character on the show. And so I think there's something to be said for showing up to do the job. And it's not interesting if she and Everett she's got to manufacture drama somehow. And so you have to look at it as job security.
Agree. Absolutely agree.
A quote I loved, Carl is talking about at the end of this episode, he hooks up with Lauren. And he's talking about how it's like a no-brainer to hook up with his hot roommate who obviously likes him. He just goes, and it just made me laugh out loud. I loved that moment. Carl is who he is. And in his confessionals in this season, it is absolutely clear that he knows what he wants. It's also absolutely clear that he and Lauren are from episode 1 on a collision course with disaster.
100%.
But I was like, yeah, Carl is not pretending to be someone he is not.
Right. Speaking of somebody who wants to pretend that he is something he's not, Kyle says, I don't want to bromance into my 40s. Kyle is now in his 40s and like, really into going out still. I mean, he's kind of pulled it back a little bit in the current season, but it took several seasons for him to dial it back and in the like going out and hanging out with my bros and being.
Yeah, but he still, even in season 9, has not fully dialed it back. Like that is still a point of contention.
You will
him
see.
And his wife.
Oh, and I agree. This season in particular, the one that is currently airing right now, like I feel like he is a more subdued Kyle Cook. My other one that I really loved from Carl is he says, unlike those LA chicks, we have real jobs. And I think this line is so savage and instantly memorable. But what I liked about it is that it did ground the episode in showing that like these summer share house people have real jobs during the week and like intense jobs during the week. And then the weekend is like for them to like really let loose. And I like that we had gotten some montage of them in the city.
Yeah, the staged montage in the city makes me laugh, but what I think is really funny is like the fact that they have real jobs will come to an end real quick. A few seasons in.
Absolutely. Just like the servers that serve.
Yes.
We're not serving.
Yes. My final favorite quote and scene is Kyle, as soon as he sees Carl and Lauren hooking up, is like, what happened to my wingman? Because Carl had big plans to be Kyle's wingman for the summer, and Carl did Carl.
What I think is funny is we will see that happen again way down the road, not with these two, but with other future summer house. I think you know who I'm referring to. Jesse Solomon and West.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break and we're going to come right back to talk what we liked about this episode. Hey, quick question. Are you secretly a fan of Hallmark movies? You know, the small town charm, the twinkly lights, the same 3 actors falling in love over and over again. Yeah, we see you, and we've got the perfect podcast for you. It's called Girls Gone Hallmark. It's hosted by us, Megan and Wendy, and it's where we recap and review all the new Hallmark movies and series, and even some throwback fan favorites with zero shame and lots of opinions. Whether you're a diehard fan or just here for the cozy vibes, we've got you covered. So after this episode, Come hang out with us on Girls Gone Hallmark. We promise it's way more fun than pretending you don't love a good Christmas in July. Hey, Wendy, what did you like about this episode?
Well, I had a hard time coming up with what I liked about episode 1 because 1, the beginning is so disjointed.
Yeah.
And 2, like a pilot episode of a scripted show, there are so many characters and cast members, and a lot of storylines that need to be established. So it's a lot.
Yeah.
And I have told people many, many times over the years to entirely skip season 1.
Yes, including me.
I know.
That's why I've seen season 2 before.
Because I think season 1 and season 2 are so different from each other. And the cast changes over a little bit and all of that stuff. So I don't love episode 1. Like, I'm not going to come here and be like, I'm a huge Summer House fan. I am, but season 2 and on.
Yeah.
So here are the things that I liked about this episode. 1, I mentioned it earlier. I do like how they set up their weekday versus their weekend lives. I enjoy seeing the cast return to their real jobs in the city.
Yeah.
And then blowing off steam on the weekends. I liked that structure a lot. We have lost that in future seasons. It's a lot in this season. Like, I think they were leaning really hard into, we're professionals.
We work hard so we can play hard.
Yeah, exactly. The second thing I really liked, I enjoyed Lauren and Carl's chemistry. I thought it was teed up perfectly. Lots of flirty, lots of on-camera kisses. The whole end, like the cliffhanger of them in the bedroom together, getting like ready to hook up. Like, perfect cliffhanger for an episode that makes you want to watch the next one. I mean, Bravo knows what it's doing, right?
Sure.
And finally, the thing I really, really loved is back to Kyle's confessions. I think he's like MVP of Talking Heads. I love his jokes. He's funny, but also self-aware, that I find him super likable.
I like Kyle too. We haven't talked a lot about the ladies of the show, but I really enjoyed the Workus twins. I find it really funny when we see the alternating confessions between Lauren and Carl. And basically Lauren's like, well, I'm all in. And Carl's like, yeah, Lauren's cool, but I don't really want to be tied down to an in-house relationship. They're practically screaming foreshadowing to me. I like Ashley trying to be the voice of reason. Like, she sees straight through Carl and she knows who her sister is. And she's like, put the brakes on, girl. And Lauren in later episodes is like, Ashley's been an old married lady forever. Like, she doesn't understand what it's like to be out here dating, which perhaps is true. Like, she has a different perspective, but also, I mean, Lauren like does dive headfirst into this showmance, interhouse romance. And I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I love the Workus twins. I find them really interesting to watch on camera. However, I did look up Lauren's Instagram, and she very recently posted from a tour of the West Wing. And if it's not giving super MAGA vibes, I don't know what. That was disappointing.
I hate knowing
I'm
these
sorry.
details.
Finally, while we're talking about the Workus twins, have I asked you this? Have you seen the TikTok trend where it's like, I'm so hungry, I could eat it, and then like you name someone from the person's past? Have I told you the Workus twin related one? Jesse Solomon was with Carl recently in a TikTok, and he was like, I'm so hungry, I could eat a Workus twin. And Carl's face was like, "Er?" It was funny in that moment because like it's such a deep cut, but it's also funny because I suspect Carl's maybe not super up with like every TikTok trend.
Of
like
the trends,
he didn't seem to understand what was happening.
Sure.
It like totally threw him. So
He was like the high school history teacher that the kids pull this one on. He's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, poor Carl. Poor Carl. I'm telling you. Carl goes from like hot F-boy to like dad energy so hard. Wow.
did you have any wishes for this episode?
Yeah, I got a whole bunch.
Oh, let me hear them.
Less of the Kyle Stassi hot tub disaster. Look, even on a rewatch, I'm like super embarrassed, like for both of them in this moment.
Yeah.
Like, I can't figure out. No, actually, I feel like Kyle is being Kyle. Kyle is super drunk and just so douchey in this moment, right?
Yep.
And I feel like Stassi's there to do the job, but it feels manufactured and it just makes me so uncomfortable to watch.
They're like, be annoyed with Kyle. This is the assignment. Kyle's drunk. Be annoyed.
Yeah. And what I don't like about it is because I once was a huge, big time Stassi fan. And I have seen her be like so sharp with her tongue that she'll just give a lashing. And this felt almost
Weak.
a little bit weak. Like she was offended that he wasn't into her, which,
No, but he kind of was into her.
but then insulting her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she was feeling hurt that he wasn't complimenting her in a way that she wanted to. It felt super manufactured. It just made me uncomfortable to watch. That's why I'm like, skip the first 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Genuinely like pick up after the first commercial.
100%.
Two more things that I wished for. I need less 4 a.m. moaning from Amanda. Look, I'm no prude, but the sex sounds,
It's a lot.
it was a lot. I was like, oh my God.
I know. She's 24, I think, in this episode and doesn't have the like, oh shit, my digital footprint. I feel like she's like, doesn't think like this show is still going to be on 9 seasons from now and I'm going to be one of the main characters. And now I'm going to have to look back on me in all of my booty calls.
Yeah. Not shaming her by any means.
I'm not either, but I don't want the moaning. I do feel like this season was, from what I've seen, heavy on the like pull the covers over our head, watch the covers move motions of like early Big Brother days.
Totally.
And I don't need it.
Right. We can read between the lines,
Yeah.
but maybe some like younger generations who watch this show.
Do you want the moaning? Email us lasttothepartypod@gmail.com.
Here's the last thing I wished for, and we haven't even brought this person up yet, is Christina.
Yeah. Okay, but I didn't realize she's not an actual house guest. Like in episode 4, they're like she's a guest.
I think she's like a recurring guest that would come out every weekend, but she's not on the lease, I guess.
That's what it seems like because like in a future episode, they're like, yeah, Christina's got to do the blow up mattress because she's the guest this weekend. It was weird.
Right. But in terms of Christina, I need way less complaining from Christina. I need her to do something more than stirring up drama. What is noteworthy to me in this particular episode is a conversation she has between herself and Lindsay about being mutually bad friends to each other. And this, like I said earlier, when I mentioned Jesse Solomon and West losing Wingman, this conversation about them being like, well, you're a bad friend. No, you're a bad friend. We see this come up again with Lindsay and someone else. So it makes me pause and wonder, like, is Lindsay kind of a bad friend? Like when she gets wrapped up in like her relationships, do her friendships go to the wayside? I wonder.
Well, when Christina is calling her on a bad friend, Lindsay does not receive that information. She's like, okay, that's fine. But, and like she moves on to like her complaints about Christina. There, at no point does Lindsay stop to be introspective and think like, have I been a bad friend? Not in their conversation.
And neither in season 8.
Look, I just have one real wish, and it's we learn basically nothing about Steven in this episode. We get more of him in the next episode, so he's getting his moment, and I think his role increases throughout this season. But
aren't you kind of glad though? Because there's so much like there's this person and what their backstory is, and this person and what their backstory
yeah,
is.
I know they got to feed it to us slowly, but also I was like, who's Steven? What's he doing? Like, I don't know anything about him. It's time for Did You See That?
Why don't you explain what Did You See That is?
Did You See That was originally born out of our other podcast, Girls Gone Hallmark, where we would call out continuity errors or weird little editing takes. Now, it's a little bit different here, right? This is going to be like just maybe moments that made you laugh, things you might have caught. Because it's one of our favorite segments over on Girls Gone Hallmark. So not every episode is going to have a Did You See That moment necessarily, but I got a couple.
Let me hear.
It's actually one big Did You See That? And that is that I mentioned it before, but I have to wonder if Kyle hates that this season exists because many of his comments kind of age badly if you look back. They're talking about their summer goals, and Kyle says that his goal is to grow up because staying out until 4 a.m. isn't as cute as it once was. Cut to season 9, he and his wife are fighting about the fact that he still stays out until 4 a.m.
First of all, can we talk about staying out until 4 a.m.?
Okay, hold on. We need to talk about the fact that the hardest part of this show for me is that I feel so tired for them.
I mean, I don't want to explicitly call it out, but there is no way a human is functioning until 4 a.m. with the amount of alcohol they drink without some sort of other stimulant,
An upper.
something.
Yeah, regularly, right? It's not like one drunken 4 a.m. night.
It's every freaking weekend.
I know.
And 2 nights at a minimum alone. Like back to back.
Yeah, so I really wonder because, look, I'm old. As mentioned, I was never fun, but the idea of driving 3 to 4 hours each way for a weekend, every single weekend, exhausts me. And so I don't know how they do it, especially in this season. We see that oftentimes they drive back on Monday mornings and then go to work.
I'll wake up at 4 a.m. and we can go.
Come on. I was like, absolutely not. And so I admit that I don't understand that lifestyle, but I don't know how he's still doing it this many years, like at his age. And I also find it hilarious that he's so annoyed with Lindsay and Everett being in the house as a couple. He was like, summer houses were not meant for couples. Again, cut to the next 8 seasons. He is a couple in the house.
Yeah, and there's always couples in the house. So
Yeah.
I wonder what their share houses look like before they actually started filming this show. Was it truly just all singles and they wanted to be out there in the Hamptons or Montauk and they were just like hooking up?
I mean, it seems like a hookup is the name of the game.
Sure.
Yeah, were there never couples? Come on.
I mean, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll never know. Here are my two. Did you see that? One is Stassi's self-tan was hard to ignore. I thought it was terrible.
Didn't notice.
Not at all. Like when she's in the jacuzzi and she's got like her arms up and like underneath her arms are just completely white compared to everywhere else on her
I'll have
body.
to pay closer attention.
These are things that drive me crazy. The other thing, you will soon see the editing on this show it's perfection. It should be Emmy nominated.
There are some savage moments coming.
There is at one point, it is the quickest scene and you would have missed it, but Carl's looking like in a mirror very close and he takes a hairbrush and like puts it on his teeth. I'm like, what is he doing? What is he doing? With the bristles of the hairbrush. Carl.
Do you have any time capsule moments? Okay, let's skip it. All right. What was your low-key iconic moment of the week?
This goes back to the editing, but the best accidental legacy shot ever to be captured is Kyle solo snacking on chips. This is truly the beginning of a 10-season arc. You will see him in every just little quick transition shot, eating alone in the kitchen.
Every
eating
drunken
snacks,
night out
eating
and
cookies. It is my Roman Empire.
How does the man still have 6-pack abs with that late night snacking?
Don't know. Do not. I think he deprives himself of carbohydrates outside of like
Those
booze
moments?
and snacks. Yeah.
My low-key iconic moment is, as mentioned earlier, I know you thought, Stassi wasn't quite savage enough, but I did love her looking at Kyle and being like, is this what's out there? Like straight to his face. I really enjoyed, is this what I have to look forward to as a single woman?
I think you would enjoy the early days of Vanderpump Rules, considering how much
I
you
watched
like.
season 1 of Vanderpump Rules.
Guys, she has only seen season 1. Season 2.
And the Scandal season. Oh my gosh. Because I like to know what people are talking about.
Which Stassi wasn't even involved, like she wasn't even a part of the cast at that point. So maybe there is room on the schedule somewhere that we somehow, sometime tackle Vanderpump Rules.
Let us know if you want a Vanderpump Rules rewatch next. All right. What's your messiest moment of the week?
Kyle insisting he is not a player right before bringing Amanda home. Sir, you're not fooling anyone, even yourself.
Kyle is the messiest one of the week. Through the seasons that I have seen of Summer House, another consistent thing is Kyle doesn't drink, he gets drunk. Like there is no in between. Kyle is, if he's drinking, he is drunk. He's drunk with Stassi. He's drunk when he calls Amanda. It's a tie for me between Kyle, like absolutely making an ass out of himself in the jacuzzi with Stassi and calling up his ex-girlfriend Amanda, which for anybody with the crystal ball, you know where that's headed. We'll be back next week with our thoughts on season 1, episode 2 of Summer House. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe everywhere you get podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram where we are Last to the Party Pod, and you can email us your thoughts on this episode, Summer House, or the shows you'd like to hear us rewatching next at lasttothepartypod@gmail.com. We'll be back next time. Goodbye.
Bye.